There we go. Manolo. Manolo. Rickron is saying, I'm learning. This info is gold. I hope so. I really hope you guys are liking the info so far. That's my main goal with all of this. I'm Manuel. I'm an environment artist in his way to build a portfolio. I've been 1 year learning with courses, YouTube, and blogs, trying every day to improve my art. Harsh, as I mentioned, what you should focus on is on props. Try to doing some really nice, interesting props, complex props, like the wagon, for instance, and that can really help you understand the whole process a little bit more. I'd like the realistic one more than stylized. Yeah, let's take a look. Okay, we need more stuff. We got the stylized cauldron. Nice. It's hand-painted stuff. Again, when you guys are doing hand-painted, and I know I'm not the best one to talk about hand-painted yet, but you need to exaggerate the materials a little bit more, okay? So when you are doing this sort of stuff, always try to see how you can push the values a little bit more to really show the materials that you're trying to show, right? So for instance, this tentacle right here, since it's supposed to be more glossy, what we're gonna see here is we're gonna see more glossiness here on the top, right? So we're gonna see a little bit more of this sort of like stuff. And eventually we might see even some like white spots, like very white spots, which is like the slimy bit of the whole thing, right? And we always need to ask ourselves, where is the light hitting? Like, where are we getting the highest glossy points of the whole thing? And that's where we're gonna start seeing this sort of effect, right? So that's gonna really help us sell the effect that thing is like a wet effect. Right now, of course, we would need to blend things a little bit more and do a little bit more work. Same for the gold here. Like, if we're gonna have this gold right here, where are the highlights, right? Because there's a light that's hitting this thing, so we would expect to see a little bit of the highlights. And this is not something that you can do as easily with Substance Painter. You're gonna have to do, again, a little bit more of like hand painted techniques and hand painted work, but it's one of the things that you can do to really push the difference of the colors and really show how they're like affecting the different like elements of your object. I love hand painted stuff. It's so fun to do, but it's just like it's very time consuming. It really takes quite a bit of time to get to a good result. Okay, so you can see this is without the little paint over, and can you guys see how much this pops into the image? Let me just know, chat, because sometimes I feel like I'm talking to the wind. So yeah, this is what we're doing right here. We're going from something that's looking a little bit too flat to something that's getting a little bit more of that punch on the material definition of the whole things. And in hand painted stuff, this is very time consuming. This is like the big part of the stuff, but it's also the thing that's really gonna push you to the next level. Awesome, glad to hear you're here. Is it Manuel or Manolo? Oh, you're Manolo, but okay, it's Manuel. Okay, there you go. From Bogota, Colombia. This one's really good. I like it. Again, it's a little bit stylized. It's looking a little bit like Play-Doh-ish. But it's a good model. It reminds me a lot of like Fortnite. Good optimization. I don't think we need 2 maps, to be honest. Something like this, like if you're in production, they wouldn't let you have 2 maps for this particular one. Oh, that's a sick concept, man. Yeah, try to do hand painted stuff with this one, because there's so much stuff. You're missing a lot of stuff here, though. Like, that's one point that I'm gonna say. This is when you guys shoot yourself on the foot. If you are doing a concept, if you're following a concept, you need to follow the concept. So you need to add the barnacles here, you need to add the starfish, you need to add the bandages, because here you sort of like gave up, I guess, or found it to be a little bit too difficult. You're like, I'm just gonna do the gun, I'm not gonna do the barnacles, I'm not gonna do the algae, I'm not gonna do a lot of this stuff. You did manage to like match the concept quite a bit. You're missing a little bit on the colors, so some of these metals are a little bit lighter than the others. That helps with the material separation, but yeah. Seraphine says, if you can't easily do the hand-painted stuff in Substance, where would you do it? I mean, to hand-paint the actual model, not the 2D render of it. 3D Code. 3D Code is the best software to do that. I actually don't have 3D Code, but I use this one called 3D Code Textura, which is like the light version, only the texture side of things. But that's the go-to element for that sort of things. The thing is that the artist told me to use. Oh, okay, okay. So yeah, okay. So if this was okay, if this was a commission, if someone told you, hey, I need you to do this for a video game or whatever, I want you to use this one right here as a concept, but don't do the barnacles or all the other stuff. Don't show the concept. That's what my point, Manuel. If you show me the concept and I don't know the context of people telling you not to do that stuff, I'm gonna immediately judge and say, you missed this. You didn't finish this properly because you're missing these pieces. So you don't always need to show the concept because this kind of like interaction can happen, okay? That's why I mentioned by like shooting yourself on the foot. So just be careful with that because, again, recruiters, HR directors, people who are looking at your portfolio, they don't have this interaction that we have right now where I can actually ask you about the things that you were going through when looking at this specific elements. So it's very important that if there's no context, you don't let people second guess or draw their own conclusions. This is a good one. I feel like we can add a little bit more metal edgeware on some elements to, again, like push some of the objects up. But this is a good model. Again, were you here, Manolo, when I was giving the demo on Maya on how to simplify some of the cylinders? Because this is too much, man. Too much. Especially for a game asset. So what you want to do here is you want to start triangularizing some of this stuff. Right? So getting more triangles here so that we reduce a little bit of the edges. Because this is way, way too much. As a rule of thumb, depending on the size of the object, I will change the amount of like lines that we have, okay? So for something that's as small as this, I'll probably keep it at 20 sides. I'm not sure how many sides you have right here, but it seems like way too many. This pipe right here, I'll probably bring it down all the way to 16 sides. Because it looks weird to have this like low poly optimized cylinder here on the front and then this unoptimized cylinder right here. And again, remove edges. You don't need as many edges, so you can remove one edge from one of these elements right here and you're gonna bring down your poly count quite a bit as well. This is about optimization, but presentation is fine, man. Like this presentation is good. Again, you normally wouldn't use a 4K texture for something like this because it's small on the face of a character. So you're going to do like a 2K texture, but you can, it's very normal to texture at 4K and then down res for the game engine if we need to. So this is fine from a modeling and texturing perspective. It's the optimization that can definitely benefit. And I understand why you added like multiple lines right here, but you don't need that many. Let's see. What do you think about Mari? I've seen some texture work. No, Mari is very good, but Mari is used more for film industry. So with Mari, you're gonna have something called UDIMs. So UDIMs, as you guys know, are when we take a character or an asset or something, and instead of keeping everything in the one-to-one space, we move it to more spaces, right? Like we add more resolution to the whole thing. So the thing about Mari is that you can work with a ridiculous amount of UDIMs. Like for me, when I was doing, what's the word? When I use UDIMs instead of substance, I usually try to keep it to 5 UDIMs, maximum 10 UDIMs, like 10 2K UDIMs, because substance is not really optimized to handle that big of like procedurally generated textures. Mari is. So if you're gonna be working with like 24K UDIMs or something like that, Mari is the way to go. Nice. Yes. All of that stuff, Darth Bean, can be baked down so that you can reduce the amount of polygons. Let's see. What are the differences in workflow between games and cinematics? I'm particularly confused on how UVs are handled for cinematics. You get way more UVs on cinematics. So the resolution that you can work with on Mari, again, it's way bigger. So you can have 54K UDIMs inside of Mari and it's gonna work perfectly fine. If you try to have 54K UDIMs inside of Substance and you don't have like a stupidly like big computer, it's gonna crash. Any advice for environment? Keep it simple, man. Keep it simple, especially if it's your first environment. You can keep it simple. Okay, so environment, concept art. So you don't want to do something like this for your first environment. That's way too complex. You might want to do something like this, right? Like a couple of houses that are modular and you can repeat, a couple of hero assets, you know, something simple. So keep it simple will be my best advice for you. Cool. Let's go to the next one.